My name is Andre Ross. I'm the head of financial institutions for the Barclays Africa Group. And the reason we got involved in the East and Southern African Pension Conference hosted by AMC is because we feel that there's a need for these kind of platforms for practitioners in the pension fund space, regulators, asset consultants, trustees, asset managers, and service providers such as ourselves to get together to deliberate around some of the challenges that we're facing. There's a massive change in global trends, but also some of the sustainable and development goals and challenges that we're facing on the continent that can be addressed through efficient mobilization, responsible mobilization of pension funds on the continent. Now, pension funds on the continent is probably one of the biggest investable pools of capital. Now, the question of how we use that responsibly to ensure the well-being of our citizens, but also how do we use it to help grow the economies on the continent, to help change the fortunes of our African citizens, I think is an important issue. At Barclays, we believe that if all of our ambitions are geared towards helping people's lives improve, then everybody will prosper. And if you look at some of the challenges we're facing on the continent, electricity, water shortages, food shortages, high unemployment, low education, we have an increasing population, a young population, people are living longer. All of these are challenges that pension fund trustees and members are grappling with. Now, having a forum where you can have a crucible of various ideas and a sort of cross-fertilization of experience and ideas, I think can only help create an environment where trustees are more empowered to ensure that the appointed administrators and members are better informed and more empowered to make the correct decisions. And that's why we're involved. We're very happy with AMC for hosting this kind of event. They've done very well to be able to host it 10 years in a row. This was the 11th iteration, and I was quite heartened to see that there were 120 delegates from all over the coverage region. There were representatives from most countries. One thing I would like to see going forward is maybe a greater number of pension fund asset managers attending, because I think while it's good for regulators, administrators and service providers to debate these issues, the asset managers form an integral link in that sort of value chain. And that would be my only sort of desire for improvement that I'd like to see going forward. But I think because our challenges are fairly unique and common, this type of forum, particularly this conference, my wish is that it continues to grow and that the participants continue to engage each other post these events.
AMC conference, I think, is really good because it attracts a lot of people from the actual industry, from the pensions industry, and pension funds themselves, trustees and pension funds from the industry. So by attracting pension funds from the industry and other institutions, you're really getting the people who are making the decisions about what should be happening about members or investments, etc. And one's not just talking to an audience of service providers. And I think that's really meaningful. I think it opens up for discussion. It means that people can communicate, they can learn from each other about the challenges that they're facing, and what ends up happening is it's an all-round learning experience for everybody. So I think compliments to AMC for putting that together, for attracting the right people to the conference. I thought that the lineup of speakers was a nice blend between professionals with professional educational angles to their pieces, plus also some case studies and some real life issues covered by people who've lived through things, sharing their experiences and difficulties and what they've learned from those ideas. So I think a nice interaction as well, and good interaction between speakers and audience. I thought it was well chaired. The chairman did a good job of making sure things were remembered, brought back into the fray, linking back to different speakers. Time was well kept, which is always good, and also a nice opportunity as a sponsor to nice touch points for us with the members of the audience. So having a cocktail event this evening enabled us to actually say hello and greet everyone at the conference, because in between and around the conference you can't always do that. So I thought that was a nice touch, and we would really have benefited from that as a business. So yeah, happy to have been a sponsor. Thank you very much, AMC, and we look forward to more conferences like this in the future. Thank you.
My name is Keshas Woleka. I'm from the Government Institutions Pension Fund in Namibia. My role there is analyst of private equity investment. I advise the board on asset allocation in private equity space, especially unlisted investments. So over the years, the pension fund has grown significantly, and as a country, we are now starting to invest locally in unlisted investment. And this is backed by Regulation 29, the new regulation that came in the country in December 2013. So we see this regulation as important for a small country like Namibia, because it allows us to develop our own country with our own resources, and it's for the benefit of our members. Yeah, I think the pension funds conference like this are very useful because they actually gather a lot of trustees. Like what I would observe today is that there was a bunch of trustees, specifically from my own country and from other countries like SADC and Eastern Africa. And these people are the ones at the center of making decisions. And they are always surrounded by professionals, sometimes who are communicating in a language that are not used. So when you have the AMC International hosting this type of conferences where some of these concepts can be explained easily in an understandable manner, it makes it worthwhile. And I commend the conference organizers to gather and focus more attention on educating trustees.
I'm Satish, and I work at the MCB Capital Markets, which is a subsidiary of the MCB, which is the biggest bank in Mauritius. So my intervention today was mostly axed on illiquid part of portfolios to complement the liquid parts. We are not competing, and no one should be competing these two asset classes in their portfolios. So this is our new product that we have launched, and which should be listed next week. The advantages of such a product is that everyone can access Indian sovereign bonds, whereas usually it's very hectic in terms of the minimum amount that you need to invest, the processes, the regulations, you need licenses. Now, like they said, you can just take your $10, go to the exchange, I want to be exposed to Indian bonds. But my presentation was mostly axed on African bond markets, and we're trying to see how we can develop it, how we can make it more accessible. We're working with a DFI at the moment, and hopefully things it should get sorted out, and it should be very positive. So our approach is we need to provide the full scale of products to our clients and to future investors. The MC was wonderful. Andre was just wonderful for every speaker's perfect introduction, perfect follow-up. He managed to do the link between all the speakers and the audience. The delegates, I think that what the African bond markets is relatively new. It's not yet, people have not yet ventured into it, because like I said, it was a hassle a few years back. Now it's starting to ease. So, but I hope that the feedback is good and that people will start questioning themselves. It's not about coming into our funds per se, it's about going into the market. Help develop the market, build the market, invest in our countries. We need that money. Developed markets don't need our pension funds money to develop. We need our money. We need to grow together. That is my message.
My name is Oratile. I work as HR coordinator. I deal with Botswana Unified Revenue Service Employees Pension Fund. We have a board of trustees of 12. We have employee elected, including union representative. We have employer elected. We are handling we have 3 investment managers. We have an asset consultants. We are almost there to comply with the new regulator requirements of the Retirement Act of 2014. I think this AMC organized conference was very vital in that it put things into perspective for us those who are implementing, that we can be in a better place to explain to members why the regulator sees it fit to put those other regulations that we don't see the point of For example, the balance of risk and focus on getting return for the members. I especially liked the presentation from Hao of Fincraft on the three-legged pot perspective, that we are not balancing it adequately. We should move further to critique the companies that we are electing to invest in and put the environment aspect. Even in small strides, we can put it in 3-year term to move to a point where we will promote a healthier environment for our tomorrow.
Pasmo Matupire is my name, from Zimbabwe, and I'm representing the Motor Industry Pension Fund, where I am one of the trustees. And my coming to this pension fund conference is really to be equipped as a trustee, so that I am empowered in terms of the latest developments in the pensions industry. We operate in our own silo in Zimbabwe, but by coming to this conference in Botswana, we are then exposed to what is happening worldwide and in the region. And so this is what I'm really expecting, so that when I go back, we find that we can benchmark ourselves with the rest of the world.
My name is Pearson Chitando. I'm from Zimbabwe Motor Industry Pension Fund. I'm one of the trustees, and I'm quite impressed about the conference, the venue. It's very good, and the speakers who have been lined up for us. They've given us a wealth of experience and insight into the fiduciary responsibilities of trustees, which I found mostly quite useful, and talking to others as well, they found it very useful. And the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, again, for our country being a signatory to the Paris to 2015, something which we hadn't taken on board and which we will now take on board, and the various presentation asset classes, etc. Very, very good. Thank AMC for organizing this.